Hello, beautiful people, and welcome to Drawing Down the Stars. I'm Snappy, and thank you for joining me for our live tarot tonight on November 21st, 2024. It's a beautiful day and a wonderful evening. Let's give a shout out to everyone here in the chat. It's good to see you, Hollerhaint. Much love, Gandhi. Good to see you, Cynthia. Much love, Atma. Gandhi, great to see you. Nikosmas, much love. Christy, much love. Isaac, great to see you. Leslie, good to see you. D-Love, much love. Gomi Kuzu, much love. Cynthia, great to see you. Tea with Lilith, good to see you. Amazing. Lots of beautiful people. Wonderful to see. All right, so let's talk for a moment about our astrology. So right now, we have now entered into the sun in Sagittarius. Beautiful, powerful energy. The Sagittarius is that archer, right? Is that profound energy of the will and of ego. It is of setting your sights and taking the shot, of having the strength to move forward and to embrace the unknown with forthrightness and strength and power, right? There's this ability to philosophize, to teach, to focus with Sagittarius. It's an intense energy. It's an energy of wanting to travel and to move. It is an energy of growth and individuality, right? So now is a time to really connect to the ego and to the will, to find out where you are going and what you truly desire, and to move and flow with the universe. And we're still in our moon in Leo. The moon in Leo is such incredible energy. You know, it's that confident, powerful energy. It's that jubilant energy. It is that passionate energy of wanting to engage and to share our perspective. It's also that energy of, you know, being a little vulnerable too. When we feel challenged or we feel threatened, you know, it's that energy of wanting to be seen for who we are, right? Beautiful, powerful energy. So in this moment, we have all of this fiery ego, all this fiery will. And we need to make sure we're keeping that in check, but it can also be used in the most profound way for growth and transformation. Now is a time when you can really do what you want, when you can know the self and be the self and express yourself clearly and move in flow. So take advantage of this moment. Embrace that jubilant Leo and that powerful, outgoing Sagittarius. All right, let's talk for a moment about our title here. So embrace desire and let your imagination blossom. When I was meditating this morning, I drew the star card. And the star card to me is always that energy of wishing. It's that energy of action. It's about recognizing that what you do now will have profound effect in the future. I always think of that famous line from Virgil's Eclogues about how Estrella, that virgin Virgo, will return, and with her Saturn's reign. That star will ascend down to the earth once again. In the Iron Age, she left and she went to the stars, but she will come back again and re-spark that golden age, right? And it is about that connection and that love and that worship, right? We bring back that golden age when we perform the rites of Eleusis, when we do that mourning, when we cry out and we call her back to us to come and bring us into that new cycle, to change the poles and to flip our reality. And this is what you're doing when you wish upon the star. You are putting into action, you are putting into praxis that imagination, you are embracing that desire, and you are asking the universe to transform your future. And through continued will and effort and love, it will manifest. Beautiful energy. And I wanted to read for you guys an intense poem, but a beautiful one. It's called Music for the Dying, and it is by Proudhon. It says, "Ye who will help me in my dying pain, speak not a word. Let all your voices cease. Let me but hear some soft harmonious strain, and I shall die at peace. Music entrances, soothes and grants relief from all below by which we are oppressed. I pray you, speak no word unto my grief, but lull it into rest. Tired am I of all words, and tired of aught that may seem falsehood from the ear conceal, desiring rather sounds which ask no thought, which I need only feel. a melody in whose delicious streams the soul may sink and pass without a breath, from fevered fancy into quiet dreams, from dreaming into death. It is that power of the muse and the music that allows us to move through the cycles, to face the intensity of the experience, and to go in with flow, even when we're facing the finality and pain of death, at least the finality of this moment. And when we embrace that energy of the muse, we will rise in the dawn with a new tune, you know? Powerful, powerful imagery. All right. Let's now go to our Ganapati oracle. Ganesha Ganapati is that divine child, the Lord of beginnings and the guardian of the threshold, the master of the spirits, the Ganas. And we ask them to send us a message and inspire us this evening and ensure that our words are heard by those who need to hear them. So, Lord Ganapati, what is the inspiring message? All right, today's message is perseverance. Perseverance. Having the strength to stay the course in spite of the hardship, you know, staying true to that image, staying true to your imagination. This connects even with that image of the star, right? Part of drawing down the stars is in that memory. It's in that practice. It's in the praxis. It's in the ritual and the rites. You have to do what is necessary. You have to be diligent and you have to persevere in spite of the darkness. You know, Demeter loses her daughter. The world falls to pieces. Everything is gone. And in her darkness, she cries and cries and cries. And it's her wailing that causes the earth to enter into a deep slumber. Some sources say she even drugs herself with the sacred opium so that she can pass away and forget the separation. But there's a time when that grief becomes too extreme and even the heavens open up and return back that love from whence it came in the deep, bring it back upon the earth with the changing of the season. And spring does come, and that mother and daughter are reunited. They're reunited because of the persistence, because of that feeling, because that refusal to give up. Even in her darkest moments of seclusion and isolation, she never lets go of that image of the daughter, of the Kori. And it is that which brings her back. So this is what we're called to persevere, to have that strength in our darkest moments, to continue along the path and to remember what we truly desire, where our love is leading us, to follow that muse, which will put us upon the path of the true will. Beautiful. All right. Let us now go to our sortes. And today we're going to start with 10 plays by Euripides. For those of you who are new, the sortes is a form of bibliomancy, that is divination through literature, and it comes to us from the Greco-Roman tradition. And we ask the goddesses of inspiration, the divine muses, to inspire us and send us a message. So muses, what is the inspiring message from Euripides? All right. One further word. Aegisthus must die. If you lose the bout and meet your death, I too am dead. Speak of me no longer as living. I shall pierce my liver with the two-edged sword. Wow. One further word. Aegisthus must die. If you lose the bout and meet your death, I too am dead. Speak of me no longer as living. I shall pierce my liver with the two-edged sword. Piercing of the liver with the two-edged sword. What an intense imagery that immediately makes one think of Prometheus, the bringer of fire, the one who created man and rebelled against Zeus and their wishes, right? Who stood firm in his desire to love and share with humanity, to provide that knowledge. But there's more here, right? There's this understanding that failure will lead in death and that our actions cause such intensity, right? We are bound by these violent acts. One act begets another. You must defend me or I die. profound, intense imagery, profound, intense stuff in general. We really need to think on this and how we are bound and how the actions of others reflect ourselves. And if one thing fails in one place, then we wind up doing it. In the Discord this evening, my dear friend Ion brought up Oedipus and his story. And right now, I truly feel like our society is Oedipus, bringing about its own demise, completely unaware, trying to save itself, yet enacting its fate. And recognize that these cycles are fated in many ways. Those tyrants must come down. The poles must flip. That feminine shall return and rise. It's just a matter of time. And this will bring both love and joy and violence. Okay, let's continue. We're now going to go to L'Autrement, Malador. Muses, what is the message from L'Autrement? But when men in their innocence are out walking in the tangles of the maquis, on steep slopes or on the dunes of the sand, they soon change their mind. Something makes them want to go back. They change their mind. Something wants to make them go back. These great men, when faced with that rawness of nature, the unforgivingness, right? The intensity of the most dangerous places, the dunes, right? Why did Frank Herbert choose the desert? Because it is one of the harshest places to survive, one of the harshest places to exist. And it is also a place of grand mysticism. Where did the great mystics go in the ancient world? Many of them went to the desert. The Christian desert fathers come to mind for isolation and hermitage, to face the extremes and to challenge oneself. And through that ability to survive, adapt and change and grow, But many of us, we think that this is what we want. We want that knowledge. We want that experience. But when faced with the uncertainty and the fear of the unknown, when staring into the face of that dune, of that unforgiving wasteland, do we have the strength to push forward? Do we even want to? Is that the right course of action? There's lots to consider. I immediately, again, think of that image of Odysseus when he straps himself to the mast in order to hear and gaze upon the sirens. There is power in gazing into the abyss and witnessing. But if you linger too long and you go too deep, you will be destroyed. This is also the message we see so often in a lot of modern films and literature. I think there's so many stories like Into the Wild, where people in their grandiose hubris and philosophical desires pursue that wilderness and that unknown, break with society and responsibility for some beautiful idealism, run out into the nature, and then are killed by her in their hubris and in their ignorance, right? This is something that happens fairly regularly, unfortunately. And these are beautiful souls, often young men, beautiful people who have profound knowledge and they're seeking something great, but they break with society. They break with everything. They want to face that extreme. And when confronted with it, they're often destroyed by it. Interesting. Let's continue. All right. Lao Tzu, Tao Te Ching. Muses, what is the message from the Tao? Inspire us. The Tao, when brightest seen, let me see here. The Tao produced one, produced two, two produced three, three produced all things. All things leave behind them the obscurity out of which they have come and go forward to embrace brightness into which they have emerged while they are harmonized by the breath of vacancy. I've read this one before, but it's just such a beautiful and profound statement. The Tao produced one. The Tao is that womb. It is that erotic energy. It's that nothing that creates something. One produced two, two produced three, three produced all things. We see this in the great trinities, the mother and the twins, right? Beautiful, powerful energy. All things leave behind them the obscurity out of which they have come and go forward to embrace the brightness. The knowledge, the point of existing is to know the other, to shine that light and to see and to experience and to gain understanding and to remember, right? We pursue that brightness. While they are harmonized by the breath of vacancy, harmonized by the lack, by that other, by that contrast, by that force of nothing. It is in the lack, it's in the vacancy that we find ourselves when we stare into the depths of our soul and we sit. Beautiful. All right, let's go now to Goethe, Faust. Muses, what is the message from Goethe? Inspire us. Why rush away? For if you stay, a revelation you shall see of charming bestiality. Why rush away? For if you stay, a revelation shall you see of charming bestiality. If you continue on the past, you will see the animal side of nature. You will see nature in all of its profundity and reality. And nature is that beast which does one thing: adapt. Adapt and survive, persist, consume and continue, reproduce. That is the role of nature. And we are of nature. That is our baser self, right? Of charming bestiality. But there is a magic and there's a love and there is a charm in this energy as well, you know? There is that coldness in the Apollonian, in that pursuit of the higher and of the beauty. It eventually turns Saturnian, right? It turns into that tyrannos, and it isolates and cuts everyone out and tries to maintain that power for itself, and it refuses to change and to let go, right? Where that natural, even though it is bestial, it is bound, embraced by love, right? It embraces that love. It pursues that desire. And it's through that pursuit of the emotion and the love and the unconscious that it has the power to transform itself, to reimagine and to be something greater. You know, there is such power in the animal that we have forgotten. There's so much power in the instincts that we have left behind. And there must be a reconciling with these forces, a regaining and a confrontation. All right, let's continue. Let's now go to A Sinister Assassin, Antonin Artaud. Muses, what is the message from Artaud? Not what it needs in order to live, but what it needs to avoid the pain of enduring having to be alive. Not what it needs in order to live, but what it needs to avoid the pain of enduring having to be alive. We are stuck in this experience of life. None of us ever asked to be here. We were born unwilling, unknown, without that memory, right? We are but children. And the reality is all of our actions are about fear and overcoming pain, right? It's not about anything else. And you got to recognize those limited, basal, bestial aspects of the self. If you cannot get them into flow, if you cannot understand them, then you cannot control that serpentine aspect of the self, that bestial aspect, and it will consume you. Let's continue. All right, we're now going to go to Milton, Paradise Lost, Paradise Regained. Muses, what is the message from Milton? Inspire us. To whom the angel with the smile that glowed, celestial rosy red, love's proper hue, answered, let it suffice thee that thou knowest us happy, and without love no happiness. To whom the angel with the smile that glowed celestial rosy red, love's proper hue answered, this is Eros himself, the most powerful force in the entire universe, that cosmogonic Eros that pushes us to know, right? What does Eros answer? Let it suffice thee that thou knowest us happy, and without love, no happiness. Even though that Eros brings that pain, brings that irrational nature, it also brings that happiness. Love is profoundly that happiness. It's interesting, right? Wow. This I want to read next. This, the next line, it's so powerful. Whatever pure thou in the body enjoyest, and pure thou wert created, we enjoy. In eminence, an obstacle find none. Whatever brings you joy, we enjoy. For we are joy itself, and love is beautiful. That which brings joy is beautiful. But how do we reconcile it with the violence, with the ugliness and the ego? Interesting conundrum. All right, let's continue. All right, Byron, selected poetry and letters. Muses, what is the message from Byron? Then shrieking she arose, and shrieking fell with joy and sorrow, hope and fear, to see him whom she deemed a habitant, where dwell the ocean buried, risen from death to be, perchance the death of one she loved too well, dear as her father had been to Haiti. It was a moment of that awful kind. I have seen such, but must not call to mind. Then shrieking she arose, and shrieking she fell, with joy and sorrow, hope and fear, to see him whom she deemed a habitant, where dwell the ocean buried, risen from death to be perchance the death of one she loved too well. That other, that partner, the feminine and the masculine, and the pursuit of that love is a violence, but it is also a love. It is a death, and it is a freedom. It is it's an imprisonment and a freedom. There's a grand paradox here, right? And it's that love that drives us into the arms of the beast, right? It's the love that drives us into the arms of the beast. Wow. Perchance the death of one she loved too well, dear as her father had been to Haiti. It was a moment of that awful kind. I have seen such, but must not call to mind. It was a moment of that awful kind, of that abduction of the Corey, right? Of that facing of that masculine, powerful other that consumes you. And there is an image here. We must not remember that violence. I can't face the violence. And again, we see a grand paradox, because what do the Orphics always say? You must remember. If you cannot remember the violence, how can you grow and move past it? Interesting. All right. We're now going to go to the Divine Comedy, Dante. Muses, what is the message from Dante? Inspire us. A strong oak tree is uprooted with less resistance by our northern winds, or the shore lies from Irbis, Africa. Then I lifted my face at her command. Wow. That masculine did not want to listen to that feminine authority, wanted to resist with all their might, but they relented and raised their head at her command. A transformation, an acknowledgement. Even the unbending tree can be made to bend. Continue. We're now going to go to Don Juan in Hell. All right, muses, what is the message from Don Juan? Their imagination glows, their energies rise up at the idea of death. These people, they love it. And the more horrible it is, the more they enjoy it. The more horrible it is, the more they enjoy it. We have all seen this tendency. And at various points in our life, we will experience this tendency to self-destruction, to destruction in general, that pursuit of the lack and of the waste, right? To deal with the grandiose through that death wish. And this is something that we must see and recognize, that death wish, it only results in our transformation and our reborn. You know, we must move and flow with the generation. We must learn to overcome and to put those feelings, those destruction habits into something tangible, right? Into something that's balanced. We need to see these aspects of ourselves and face them. You know, so much of the modern religious tradition is about disregarding these feelings, negating the pursuit of desire and death, seeing them as evil. But these are human things, and if they're not reconciled and understood and put into its proper flow, then we will self-destruct. All right. With that, let us start our tarot proper. But before I do, please give me a like and a subscribe. It really does make a big difference. It boosts everything in the algorithm, and I would truly appreciate it. And if you're at all interested in a private reading, you can reach out to me, Snappy or Lady Snappy, and you can find me on the Myth and Lord Discord. All right. And as always, that center card is our most important card. We are using the M.M. Moline Tarot of Tabula Mundi. And we are invoking the energy of Saturn and asking them to dissect our life and expose it upon the plate. And today's center card is the Knight of Discs. How interesting, the fire of Earth, bringing that inspiring action into the Earth, and the evolution of the Prince of Discs. We were so deep with the Prince of Discs the other day with Ryan, right? We were talking much about how that energy was so divided between the earth and the air, was so high-minded, unable to figure out how to transform to get where they desired. And that deep resentment that can come with that card. But there's also incredible power. If they can learn to reconcile these extremes, they can move mountains. Right now we're seeing is that this energy is refining itself, becoming that strong, outgoing person, that responsible action that moves in the earth with the fire of passion to defend others and protect that image, to move beyond the self into something greater still. Where's this energy going? Princess of Swords. The knight is saving the princess, and this time the princess is of the swords, is of that logic, that earth, of the air, drawing down that reason into the earth, manifesting that knowledge and understanding into our physical reality, right? And we do it by protecting that energy, by pursuing that energy, and being the one that takes responsibility and ensures that this energy is provided for. Right? Let's continue. Nine of Wands, strength. We must have that fiery strength, that passion to overcome, to pursue this desire, to take responsibility and raise that next generation, to provide them with the knowledge and understanding needed to grow. Nine of Discs. When we can embody that fiery passion of the knight, when we can move in the earth and build, the gain will come. And this is a constant theme we keep seeing. And the gain is requiring two things from us: responsibility and the strength to move forward with that fiery passion. Look at the fire of earth. And then the Nine of Wands, the arrow of the archer, Sagittarius, right? The moon. And we have that Princess of Swords, that logic, right? And this is what manifests that gain upon the earth, that exponential growth. And we see another princess here, another energy, that absolute Virgo, the earth of earth, returning to the natural order. That Artemis energy, returning to that deep connected earthly embodied form, right? Moving with the flow, doing what is necessary, bound to the natural law and nothing else. And again, this is that energy of the princess, that energy that must be taken care of and supported, that must be protected, that needs our connection and our love. And it is these energies that will be that grandiose inspiration that will transform our fate. Where are we going? Six of Cups, pleasure. When we can be embodied in that virginal energy of the earthiness, of the earth of earth, that Artemis energy, when we can truly take care and responsibility, we manifest not only the 9, that transformative gain, but the pleasure, that reciprocal loving flow, that absolute balance, drawing down of that loving energy into the waters, right? In perfect harmony and balance. The 6 is that middle path, right? Wow, beautiful. And it grows still further still when we can embody the Knight. We manifest the 10 of Cups, that satiety, right? We complete the cycle. We build the community, and we provide that loving flow that is sustaining, and reciprocal. Where's this going? We get there through that pursuit of that foundation, that loving foundational energy, those core relationships, those core people in your life that stay with you, that move with you through the cycles of transformation. You know, and when we rely upon them, they provide us with the strength to move through the cycles, right? To go past and to embrace what is necessary. When we have that 4 and it's in proper sync, then we can build that 10. Not before and not later. And wow, Prince of Wands. We saw that energy the other day as well. Again, there's this necessity to be in this inspiring, young, reckless mode. You know, the Prince of Wands, there is that airiness again with the princes, where they're stuck in the clouds. So they're still with that fire as that Wands card, but their head and their pursuit is to that higher being, to something grander, to something beyond this world, and something about the self. This energy, though, is powerful. It can lead you up the mountain. It can transform the center, right? And when that energy connects in loving flow, it can be such a providing, powerful energy. You know, what I'm seeing here is that we need to become that community that can raise and take care of these princes, these people with those higher-minded goals and the passion to get there, but are unsure of how to go. See the long and winding road behind him, up that mountain. The path may be illuminated, but now they must walk it. And we can only walk that path with the strength of community. Look at the chimera that has ascended the throne. We want to embody that chimera and ascend the mountain. Look at the chimera at the top here, right? All connected. All right. All right, let me flip my camera here so you can see the full spread. Okay. So let's start here with the Princess of Swords. And the Princess of Swords and the Princess of Discs, right? And that 4 of Cups, this is all about providing that foundational energy to these young, beautiful energies, to be that loving support that will allow this energy to grow in community and in harmony, that will allow this energy to fulfill, be that profound virginal energy that draws that air to the earth, that draws that earth into the earth, that connects us to nature and that connects us to reason, right? Beautiful. And it's through that communal love that we can provide them with they need to grow. That Knight of Discs, the fire of earth. It is by embodying that responsible energy that we can not only build the tower and produce exponential gain, but build the community and be sated and loved. It is when we can be that fiery, passionate, mature adult working in the earth, protecting others, working in that selfless diligence, that we can manifest these grandiose dreams, things that are greater than ourselves, that will provide for others in exponential ways, that'll be in that loving, flowing harmony. At Nine of Wands, the strength, when we can truly embody this desire, that's when we can force that prince to grow up even further still and become that fire of fire, the Knight of Wands, right? And that's where we want that energy to go. And we get there through embodying that strength and by being in that loving pleasure, connecting to community. It is through community and through focus that we can truly ascend and truly become that more mature figure. But we have to be inspired and we have to be in that loving flow. All right, let's continue to our cross. It is that night that will allow us, when we are that mature person that night, we first need to build and focus on our foundation, those core loving relationships. And then that'll lead to the success, the first signs of that flowing community, of that reciprocal love. And then that'll manifest greater still into the pleasure, right? We're seeing so much of the plateaus of the waters, all a result of this energy of the night. Beautiful. When we look at our lust, right? It's the night that needs to raise the next generation, that needs to provide. And we do so through that fiery passion and that earthiness of earth, right? And we recognize that these young energies need education, they need protection, they need sustenance. And it is that night of discs that can provide them with the guidance, with the protection, with the support. And it's these energies that will allow these people to grow and fulfill themselves. And that is the duty of the night. The night is the selfless actor who works for community, who provides for the city, who defends the city. And what are we building? We are manifesting that city. We are coming together in harmony of the twins again, right? That twinning energy we keep seeing. And it's such beautiful energy, right? So the message here is to take responsibility, to become that mature knight, to let go of selfishness and to work and flow, to take responsibility for the next generation and become that provider who builds in the earth with that inspiring, fiery passion, who has the strength, who has that foundation, and who can do what is necessary to manifest the gain and manifest the satiety. So that is the message, everyone. I hope it resonated with you. It certainly resonated with me. Become that knight. Pursue selfless community and growth. Take care of that next generation. Be that inspiration that they need. Become that knight figure that can show them how to move and be in the earth. All right. Let us do one final sword taste and then we'll call it an evening. Lewis Carroll, Adventures in Wonderland. What is the message from Lewis Carroll? Muses, guide us. I am afraid I haven't got one, Alice said in a frightened tone. There wasn't a ticket office where I came from, and again the chorus of voices went on. There wasn't room for one where she came from. The land there is worth £1,000 an inch. I'm afraid I haven't got one. There wasn't a ticket office where I came from. This kind of silly absurdity makes me immediately think of frogs, by Aristophanes. And this idea that in the underworld, in these magical worlds, right, it's all about confidence and strength and playing of these games, right? When you don the mask, you become what you wear, You redefine yourself in the moment. So in these moments, you see, does she need a ticket? What is the game at play here? When she gives them power by allowing them to make demands upon her, then she has lost, right? Trapped in these celestial bureaucracies and silly games. And in Aristophanes' Frogs, what we see in one point is that Dionysus dresses up as Heracles, his brother. And this is hilarious because even though they are brothers, they are polar opposites. Polar opposites. Dionysus is foppish, and effeminate and skinny and wears little booties and is always drinking, never getting into fights, not involved in any of that. Hercules is everything else, right? He is that wrestler, that profound masculine who drags the club and wears a loincloth. So what we see is in the underworld is Dionysus dresses up like Hercules, and everyone regards him as Hercules. They believe that that's who he is. So when he's there, they say, Hercules, you were just here and you ransacked the place. We're now holding you to account. And Dionysus goes, wait, I'm not Hercules, I'm Dionysus. They say, but you look like Hercules and you were just here. I know what I saw. You smashed the place. And they hold him responsible. They hold him responsible because he's wearing a mask. He's wearing a costume and he appears as that costume, right? There's message here. Move beyond those celestial games. Don't allow people to bind you in silliness. Be in that power of imagination. Ascend the throne and embody the emperor. Transform your reality. All right, everyone. That's the message. Thank you so much for joining me. Peace and love until tomorrow. Take care.